Chinese room. As I said before, it's the same developer that just did the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, the one that just came out. Alright, let's resume this. This game does not have ultra wide, unfortunately.
Dear Esther, the gulls do not land here anymore. I've noticed that this year they seem to shun the place. Maybe it's the depletion of the fishing stock driving them away. Perhaps it's me. When he first landed here, Donnelly wrote that the herds were sickly and their shepherds the lowest of the miserable classes that populate these Hebridean islands. 300 years later, even they have departed.
Hebridean Islands? I didn't catch him very well. I didn't catch very well what he said. Hebridean Islands. Are these actual islands that exist? Yeah, this is painted using fluorescent paint. These are chemical formulas. I'm basically you cannot run in this game, so I'm basically just taking the character to see the island and the landscape. Wait. Okay, so apparently you do not okay, you do. You can continue here. Oh, I thought that you actually got to see...
Donnelly reported the legend of the hermit, a holy man who sought solitude in its most pure form. Allegedly, he rode here from the mainland in a boat without a bottom, so all the creatures of the sea could rise at night to converse with him. How disappointed he must have been with their chatter. Perhaps now, when all that haunts the ocean is the rubbish dumped from the tankers, he'd find more peace. They say he threw his arms wide in a valley on the south side, and the cliff opened up to provide him shelter. They say he died of fever 116 years later. The shepherds left gifts for him at the mouth of the cave, but Donnelly records they never claimed to have seen him. I have visited the cave and I have left my gifts, but like them, I appear to be an unworthy subject of his solitude.
This is the fluorescent paint. You can see it's written there, luminous paint. This is the paint there that has been used to paint those chemical equations on the wall and stuff like that. Okay, so there's no exit from here. So there was just this path. This was the only path there was, and of course we are not going to be able to pursue this path here, so we are going to go on through the beach. Just to make sure there's no caves here also. No. Alright, so now I'm sure that I've seen everything. I can proceed. Yeah, but I I was just looking at the engine made for to create this game. They use the Unity engine. I'm not very familiar, although I've heard of it, Unity engine. I'm not really very familiar with other games used by that engine. If they had made the game more recently, they would have probably used Unreal Engine.
At night, you can see the lights sometimes from a passing tanker or trawler. From up on the cliffs, they are mundane. But down here, they fugue into ambiguity. For instance, I cannot readily tell if they belong above or below the waves. The distinction now seems banal. Why not everything and all at once? There's nothing better to do here than indulge in contradictions whilst waiting for the fabric of life to unravel.
Oh, you know what this is? This is what they call like the perfect measure. It's like a mathematical symbol of perfection. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, it's inscribed in the sand. That's funny. That's interesting.
Dear Esther, I found myself to be as featureless as this ocean, as shallow and unoccupied as this bay, a listless wreck without identification. My rocks are these bones, and a careful fence to keep the precipice at bay. Shot through me caves, my forehead a mount. This aerial will transmit into me so. All overexposed, the nervous system, where Donnelly's boots and yours and mine still trample. I will carry a torch for you. I will leave it at the foot of my headstone. You will need it for the tunnels that carry me under.
I forgot the name of this thing. It's like the... Let me try to see if the AI knows. What is the mathematical representation of the perfect proportion?
The perfect proportion is often represented by the golden ratio, usually denoted by the Greek letter phi. It's approximately equal to 1.618. In mathematical terms, two quantities A and B are in the golden ratio if A plus B is equal to AB, and both are related by the golden ratio. It's often found in art, architecture, and nature as an aesthetically pleasing proportion.
I think that is what this is, the golden ratio. That is what you are looking at. I'm just going to confirm. Show me a visual representation of the golden ratio.
I can't show images directly, but I can
Okay,
describe.
never mind. Show me a visual representation of the golden ratio. It's searching. I'm just confirming for myself. Yes, that's exactly it. This is what that is, the golden ratio. It's probably the tallest point on the island right there, where we see that antenna.
Reading Donnelly by the weak afternoon sunlight, he landed on the south side of the island, followed the path to the bay and climbed the mount. He did not find the caves, and he did not chart the north side. I think this is why his understanding of the island is flawed, incomplete. He stood on the mount and only wondered momentarily how to descend. But then, he didn't have my reasons. When someone had died or was dying, or was so ill they gave up what little hope they could sacrifice, they cut parallel lines into the cliff, exposing the white chalk beneath. You could see them from the mainland or the fishing boats, and know to send aid or impose a cordon of protection, and wait a generation until whatever pestilence stalked the cliff paths died along with its hosts. My lines are just for this: to keep any would-be rescuers at bay. The infection is not simply of the flesh. We are not like Lot's wife, you and I. We feel no particular need to turn back. There's nothing to be seen if we did. No tired old man parting the cliffs with his arms. No gifts or Bibles laid out on the sand for the taking. No tides turning or the shrieking gulls overhead. The bones of the hermit are no longer laid out for the taking. I have stolen them away to the guts of this island, where the passages all run to black, and where we can light each other's faces by their strange luminescence.
There's another stranded boat right there. Another shipwreck. We're going to visit that little cave.
Dear Esther, I met Paul. I made my own little pilgrimage. My Damascus, a small semi-detached on the outskirts of Wolverhampton. We drank coffee in his kitchen and tried to connect to one another. Although he knew I hadn't come in search of an apology, reason or retribution, he still spiraled in panic, thrown high and lucid by his own dented bonnet. Responsibility had made him old. Like us, he'd already passed beyond any conceivable boundary of life. I threw my arms wide and the cliff opened out before me, making this rough home. I transferred my belongings from the bothy on the mount and tried to live here instead. It was cold at night and the sea lapped at the entrance at high tide. To climb the peak, I must first venture even deeper into the veins of the island, where the signals are blocked altogether. Only then will I understand them, when I stand on the summit and they flow into me, uncorrupted.
So there's like a neuron, chemical formulas mixed with like neuron connections or something. This might be some other kind of cell, I'm not sure. Maybe it's just like a plankton or some shit. Also a nervous cell, another nervous cell here. These are all painted with luminous paint, fluorescent paint. There's another entrance right there. Oh, that's where we were earlier. It's that that one that doesn't have like you cannot go any further from there.
The vegetation here has fossilized from the roots up. To think they once grazed animals here, the remnants of occupation being evidence to that. It is all sick to death. The water is too polluted for the fish, the sky is too thin for the birds, and the soil is cut with the bones of hermits and shepherds. I've heard it said that human ashes make great fertilizer, that we could sow a forest from all that is left of your hips and ribcage, with enough left over to thicken the air and repopulate the bay.
Oh, as I was saying previously, any ash is good for the soil fertilization, not just human ash. Units in width in chemistry, public book, and this seems to be a Bible. Like a kind of a Stonehenge monument right there.
Dear Esther, I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times. But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my ordnance survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services, but although I can always see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
We're going to check the left side here, just for the sake of exploring. You can see a boy from here. Interestingly enough, the analog keyboard works perfectly in this game. Can you imagine? I mean, it didn't work in Alien Isolation, which is a much more modern. It's not much. I'm lying. I think both games are actually from the same time. Alien Isolation in this one. Alexa, when did the game Dear Esther release? Okay, so Dear Esther, this game released in 2012, and it already supports analog keyboards. So I can control the speed. Can you see it? I can control from faster to slower, slow, fast, slow, fast. You see? It already works with an analog keyboard. Strangely enough, I don't know why, but Alien
An
Isolation
imagined answer phone message. The tires are flat, the wheel spins loosely, and the brake fluid has run like ink over this map, staining the landmarks and rendering the coastline mute, compromised. Where you saw galaxies, I saw only bruises cut into the cliff by my lack of sobriety.
And neither did he eat nor drink. That's what is written on the side of that boat. We just get a little bit of water.
There must be a hole in the bottom of the boat. How else could new hermits have arrived? I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic, your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk. I've begun to climb, away from the sea and towards the center. It is a straight line to the summit, where the evening begins to coil around the aerial and squeeze the signals into early silence. The bothy squats against the mount to avoid the gaze of the aerial. I too will creep under the island like an animal and approach it from the northern shore. The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jakobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either. Inventory. A trestle table we spread wallpaper on in our first home. A folding chair. I laughed at you for bringing camping in the lakes. I was uncomfortable later and you laughed then. This diary, the bed with the broken springs. Once asleep you have to remember not to dream. A change of clothes. Donnelly's book, stolen from Edinburgh Library on the way here. I will burn them all on the last morning and make an aerial of my own. He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit. They found Jakobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. All around him, small flowers were reaching for the weak sun. The goats had adjusted happily to life without a shepherd and were grazing freely about the valley. Donnelly reports they hurled the body in fear and disgust down the shaft, but I cannot corroborate this story. Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg. I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the bothy to rest, But it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent. Donnelly's addiction is my one true constant. Even though I wake in false dawns and find the landscape changing, flowing in constantly through my tears, I know his reaching is always upon me. It was as if someone had taken the car and shaken it like a cocktail. The glove compartment had been opened and emptied with the ashtrays and the boot. It made for a crumpled museum, a shattered exhibition. If the caves are my guts, this must be the place where the stones are first formed. The bacteria phosphoresce and rise, singing through the tunnels. Everything here is bound by the rise and fall, like a tide. Perhaps the whole island is actually underwater.
I'm trying not to miss out on anything. I want to explore the most. Yeah, the Bethesda really should hire these guys to make the next to make the caves on the next Elder Scrolls game. Another electrical circuit right there. Oh, it's dragging me. Interesting. It's the same drawing. It's funny that the AI cannot identify what that is. It just goes to show that it still has a way to go, AI. Because whoever knows what that is will very easily identify it. And I'm betting that that's not the only image that the AI cannot identify. I'm betting that if you show it the neuron, it will probably not be able to also identify it. I don't know if it's a problem with the vision itself, that it's not able to receive the correct image at the end of it, or if it's an interpretation issue. If the AI is not able to interpret it correctly. Interpret. Yeah, the water reflections really rock.
When I was coming round from the operation, I remember the light they shone in my eyes to check for pupil contraction. It was like staring up at a moonlit sky from the bottom of a well. People moved at the summit, but I could not tell if you were one of them.
We really need to get something to produce this water effect. It's probably very easy to do. Behold, Damascus was taken. Behold, Damascus is taken. Was taken. A lot of electrical circuits. Damascus written on the other direction, like back, front side back. A lot of like neurons and electrical circuits and Damascus again. It's like the Sistine Chapel up here. This seems like rebar. It's just the rock formations, and these look like roots. These look like roots away from being a city. Away from being a city. And it shall be a ruinous heap. Yeah, they definitely, the guys at Bethesda really need to hire the guys who made these caves for the next TES game. They really nailed the magical, enchanted visual. Here we go for the next drop. So this is the drunken driver who killed his wife. He's probably I still remember the first time that a game used that loading screen, continuing the level without, because games used to be made with levels, like level 1, then you would reach the end of level 1, you would get to a screen, and then level 2 loading, and then there was a game, I don't quite remember which one it started doing that. I think it was Half-Life 2, that or Half-Life.
The moon over the Sanford Junction, headlights in your retinas. Donnelly drove a grey hatchback without a bottom. All the creatures of the tarmac rose to sing to him. All manner of symbols crudely scrawled across the cliff face of my unrest. My life reduced to an electrical diagram. All my gulls have taken flight. They will no longer roost on these outcrops. The lure of the moon over the Sanford Junction is too strong.
Electric diagrams. Beautiful, beautiful game this is. Not just the image, but also the entire thing, the music, the narration, like the story. We actually going to try to go to that part. Another electric diagram. Okay, so this is the most you can go. The sky is like their Achilles heel. Usually the sky, I don't know why, it should be one of the easiest things to do, but many games don't create a proper sky. Oh, there you go. Which of the caves did we come from? We didn't see this one. Oh, we didn't see this one. Wait a second. Is there like a path to... Yeah, there is. Oh man, the computer... I don't know why, but my computer is really... having some I really have a powerful computer, so I really don't understand. So I'm going to try to pass to the other side so that I can follow that path. Let me just okay. Is it because of the analog keyboard that is doing this? I don't know. Having some interruptions. It's definitely not lack of graphics power or CPU. That I'm sure it isn't. Here we have the instrument that has been used for all the painting. Oh look, what a beautiful look at this. Amazing. There's someone there at the top. So I'm gonna try to do something just really quick, just a second. Alright.
Dear Esther, I find each step harder and heavier. I drag Donnelly's corpse on my back across these rocks, and all I hear are his whispers of guilt, his reminders, his burnt letters, his neatly folded clothes. He tells me I was not drunk at all.
Wait, was Donnelly the drunk guy who killed the woman? I don't know. This seems to be like one of those, yeah, these are like hospital instruments. Wait a second. Okay. Turning off some software. The car parts.
Hall by the roadside, by the exit for Damascus, all ticking and cooled, all feathers and remorse, all of these signals routed like traffic through the circuit diagrams of our guts, those badly ridden boats torn bottomless in the swells, washing us forever ashore.
Him. Around him. Let's go a little further to be able to read this better. A light from heaven shone around him.
From here, I can see my armada. I collected all the letters I'd ever meant to send to you, if I'd have ever made it to the mainland, but had instead collected at the bottom of my rucksack, and I spread them out along the lost beach. Then I took each and every one, and I folded them into boats. I folded you into the creases, and then, as the sun was setting, I set the fleet to sail. Shattered into 21 pieces, I consigned you to the Atlantic, and I sat here until I'd watched all of you sink.
Oh, paper boats. On a sudden, a light from heaven shone around him, and he fell to the ground. 3 eggs.
When Paul keeled over dead on the road to Damascus, they resuscitated him by hitting him in the chest with stones gathered by the roadside. He was lifeless for 21 minutes, certainly long enough for the oxygen levels in his brain to have decreased and caused hallucinations and delusions of transcendence. I'm running out of painkillers, and the moon has become almost unbearably bright.
Oh, look at the moon. When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's amore. They really did a great job with the flora, with the plants and flowers. Really looks real. These look like real plants, real flowers. Real vegetation.
I've begun my voyage in a paper boat without a bottom. I will fly to the moon in it. I've been folded along a crease in time, a weakness in the sheet of life. Now you've settled on the opposite side of the paper to me. I can see your traces in the ink that soaks through the fiber, the pulped vegetation. When we become waterlogged and the cage disintegrates, we will intermingle. When this paper aeroplane leaves the cliff edge and carves parallel vapor trails in the dark, we will come together.
This is the human figure we saw a few minutes ago from down there. There was a guy here, standing here. And as he was proceeding on his journey, to need to be above there to be able to read this. Come near. God damn. No. Don't. No. Okay, never mind. I give up on reading that one. And he was...
If only Donnelly had experienced this, he would have realized he was his own shoreline, as am I. Just as I am becoming this island, so he became his syphilis, retreating into the burning synapses, the stones, the infection.
Really beautiful colors and visuals.
Headlights reflected in these retinas. Too long in the tunnels of my island without a bottom. The sea creatures have risen to the surface, but the gulls are not here to carry them back to their nests. I've become fixed, open and staring, an eye turned on itself. I've become an infected leg whose tracking lines form a perfect map of the junctions of the M5. I will take the exit at mid-thigh and plummet to my Esther.
That is the base of if I'm not mistaken, of a military defense system. This is the weapon would be placed there. I'm not sure. And it came to pass that has made my journey and etc. etc. and fenced cliff ahead. Keep away from edge. Extreme danger. Probably one of the things causing the game to pause so much is the sheer amount of vegetation moving at one time. This is probably very taxing on the game engine itself. I'm pretty sure my graphics card has no trouble dealing with it. It's the game engine itself is probably limited. Like the same thing happens in Skyrim. Like you can have the latest graphics card, but it's kind of each game engine has its limitations. I mean, this is an RTX 4080, so.
He was not drunk, Esther. He was not drunk at all. He had not drunk with Donnelly or spat Jakobsen back at the sea. He had not careered across the lost shores and terminal beaches of this nascent archipelago. He did not intend his bonnet to be crumpled like a spent tissue by the impact. His windscreen was not star-studded all over like a map of the heavens. His paintwork etched with circuit diagrams, strange fish to call the gulls away. The phosphorescence of the skid marks lighting the M5 all the way from Exeter to Damascus.
This is realistic. Like the higher you go up in the mountain, the more wind you... And it can be very sudden, just like you're watching here. I've actually experienced that. It's amazing the difference it makes being just a little higher up.
I am the Ariel. In my passing, I will send news to each and every star. Dear Esther, I have burnt my belongings, my books, this death certificate. Mine will be written all across this island. Who was Jakobsen? Who remembers him? Donnelly has written of him, but who was Donnelly? Who remembers him? I have painted, carved, hewn, scored into this space all that I could draw from him. There will be another to these shores to remember me. I will rise from the ocean like an island without bottom, come together like a stone, become an Ariel, a beacon, that they will not forget you. We've always been drawn here. One day the gulls will return and nest in our bones and our history. I will look to my left and see Esther Donnelly flying beside me. I will look to my right and see Paul Jakobsen flying beside me. They will leave white lines carved into the air to reach the mainland, where help will be sent.
come back.
Short and sweet. Valve. So special thanks to Valve. The Unity engine is from Valve then. It's Valve's engine. I didn't even remember that. So this game used Valve engine. Maybe the same engine that was used to make Half-Life 2, probably. Yeah. It sounds familiar now that I'm visualizing Half-Life 2. It definitely looks like the type of graphics that yeah. It goes to show that the same engine can do really different games. Testronic translation services. I wonder if there's no music in the credits or if it's a bug. Probably no music in the credits. 2017 Unity Technologies Ultimate FPS UFS Vision Punk. Yeah, very beautiful game, indeed. And here we have music. It's strange that they didn't put this music in the credits, right? Just listening to a bit of this music. Alright, I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next playthrough.